Jim. Why don't you let me know a little bit about Diamond Pizza?
Okay. We are, well, we'll say family owned. We have a lot of people who work here, so
Okay.
over the years, and we've been here from May 1978. So we've been in the neighborhood for quite a long time. So we have a lot of third and now fourth generation people coming in
Yeah.
to see us. So that's quite the treat. It's always fun when people come, especially people who live far away, and come back and see us and say, hey, you know what? I have fond memories of the place. I just couldn't wait to bring my kid, my fiance, my wife, and
Yeah,
share
that's
some of the food with her.
That's great. You guys have such an extensive menu. You can
We do
get
have
anything you like.
It's almost like 3 restaurants in one, because we do have that Greek and European food.
Yeah.
And we also have the burgers and poutines, and we also have the pizza. And then along with that, we have subs and salads, so it's quite a diverse menu. It's sort of, we do have a big delivery area, so that helps us because we can keep everything fresh and keep everything moving and do everything well, because if we don't do things well, then we don't like to do them.
Sure. No, that makes sense. So what made you think you wanted to go into the restaurant business?
Temporary insanity. No. I had too many weekends off and I had too many nights free.
Oh, yeah.
So
a restaurant seemed like the right
restaurant
idea?
seemed like a good idea at the time. It's not my first foray into restaurants. I worked in restaurants when I was young, putting myself through school, and had a career in restaurants in my early 20s to late 20s type thing. I did other work in between for another 10 years. Then this opportunity came along, and I saw Diamond Pizza. And
Hello. Good, thanks.
in all honesty, fell in love with the place. It was a sort of a family acquaintance who owned it before me.
I see.
And,
Okay.
the atmosphere, the feel of the place just felt like a neighborhood store, not a nondescript, just a franchise.
Yeah.
They have their strengths and they have their good things that are with them, so not to knock them. But this had more of a neighborhood feel, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So, it's a business opportunity. It's something you do for yourself, and it's something that, takes a lot of hard work, but it's something that I wasn't familiar with or aware of.
Yeah. So were you in the neighborhood before this? Like,
I grew up not too far from here, Cape and Bain.
okay.
So not East York quite, but okay. So originally I was at O'Connor and Pate.
Okay.
So I played soccer with East York. Grew up in the neighborhood at Via Park and all that stuff, right? So in the neighborhood we used to play practice at Seacourt down the street. So when I was 14 years old, my first indoor soccer team we played at D.A. Morrison, which is 3 blocks from here. So I've always been in and around the neighborhood. So
Yep.
familiar with that.
So what's the most surprising thing? You've been at it a long time, but about owning your own business.
Oh, it wasn't a surprise. I was aware of the challenges. The surprise came, I guess, the first time or two when I went around this thing. The one thing that's, number one, surprising, we just had a gentleman come in. When I first bought the store, I figured we wouldn't sell milkshakes in the winter, and we sell sometimes more milkshakes in minus 20 weather than we do in like plus 30 weather. So that was a surprise.
People just feel like they want one.
But that's just more of a fun thing. Some of the other things that are sort of, you always have to keep aware of are the changing environments and demographics, the different challenges. So there's some good stuff and some bad stuff as well,
Yeah.
right? So, COVID is a global issue for everyone. Mm-hmm. And, I think a lot of the restaurateurs have done a phenomenal job adapting and being
Me too.
Aware of the issues and being careful that way, as much as sometimes the news like to say. But I think for the most part, they're mostly conscientious. You don't get in this business if you don't have that sort of inner morality, that inner drive to do things well.
No, I think that's right.
So,
what do you say customers love about Diamond Pizza? What's that?
depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
I mean, the food, the staff, I think we do a good job service-wise. Not perfect, we do better sometimes, no matter what, it's a restaurant industry, so we do have turnover.
Yeah.
Not as many as some places, but we do have people here who've been here for 20, 30 years, like
Sure.
longer than I've been here.
Wow.
So, but there's also, when we bring people in, the younger people, we try to bring people from the neighborhood, and it's always fun to sort of get that interaction and see them grow beyond here and see how they do in their lives.
Yeah, for sure. And so, are you still in the neighborhood now, or did you
I'm in
move in?
Scarborough. I
You're
live in Scarborough,
Yeah.
but I'm here every day, so.
Yeah. Well, you know the neighborhood. So when you're here, is there other places you like to go? Stores?
Well, okay.
Yes.
For eating, there's always a few places I like to hit up. Okay, so there's always fish and chips, Duckworths,
Yeah, Duckworths. Yeah.
right? And of course, there's a Danforth for some Greek food that we don't carry. So so I don't like to do things that don't travel well because we do specialize in take-home delivery.
Of course.
So I don't do things like calamari or steak, things like that. So if there's things like that that I want to eat, there's some places on the Danforth I like to go to, whether it's for, well, Mr. Greek now, they used to be there, but now they're up in Scarborough, or calamari, or just the variety of food. We have enough variety here, so
Yeah, yeah.
things like that. Go occasionally skating up in the neighborhood over at Dia Park, so just do things. So there's some fun, there's some leisure, and there's also a lot of friends and family in the neighborhood as well.
Yeah, of course. No, that makes sense. So, so you've been here, business been here 40 years, you've been here 18, is that right? So have you noticed any major changes in the neighborhood? What sort of things you see
Huge
going
change in
on?
the neighborhood, yeah. It went from being sort of I won't say blue collar neighborhood, but, a little more working class, things like that, to where, well, no surprise about the house prices to you, just a little higher than some of the, lower middle class can afford.
Yeah.
It's becoming a lot more upper middle class, a lot of things like that, but it's actually also an incredibly diverse mix. We do all have a lot of the assisted housing.
Yeah.
So there is quite a variety in here, and you do see that sort of the change in the neighborhood that way, for the better for the most part, because it's sort of, I think it's bringing everybody up a little bit.
Yeah,
And
well, it's really, the housing stock is really diverse, right? Because you've had some housing that has been torn down, new houses built, so you get that, it's more mixed
It is
maybe
more
than
mixed
it
right now.
probably
It
was.
is a lot more.
Yeah. So does your business have anything special going on that you would like people to know about, or just go to the website? What works for you?
The website's your best bet. Call us directly. Try to avoid, for my sake, avoid things like Uber and Skip the Dishes and DoorDash.
Yeah.
For a couple of reasons. They're convenient, granted, and they have all the bells and whistles, but you won't get the same level of service, and you won't get the same attention to detail, and you're actually paying for a lot of nothing, right? So I know that our prices are a little higher for those services, just because they have to be. And actually, I don't even recoup that cost, to tell you the truth. We try to keep our prices as reasonable as we can, but even I look at some of the prices on Uber and Skip the Dishes, things like going, I would not want to pay, especially when I know the difference what I can pay if I call directly. Talk to somebody there that can actually fulfill your order to how you want it. So if you don't want onions on your sandwich, if you don't want your salad made a certain way, if you want your pizza with a thin crust and have this, have that, much easier to talk to somebody and let them know. And that's what we're here, and that's what we're trained to do.
Yeah, no problem. That sounds like a good idea, and I think that's true for all the takeout restaurants.
I think that is true for every restaurant across the board.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're just like
with the exception of some ghost kitchens, which
yeah.
I'm not sure if people know what they are, but basically it's establishments like mine who have 2 or 3 different names, all working from the same store,
Kitchen.
so that they can basically expand their exposure. I try not to do that because I think that I'd like to promote my name, my brand, and stick to that, and not try to play games with the customers like that.
Yeah, no, I can see that. So, if you were giving advice to a young person now who is thinking about getting into business, what advice would you give them?
Any young business, doesn't matter what they're doing, okay? First things foremost, see something through to completion. If you start something, whether it's a degree, whether it's a certificate, whether it's a course, whether it's a job, see it through to the best of your ability to complete it.
Right.
All you will do is open up opportunities and doors for you. Okay? Whenever you do something in life, whether it's work, whether it's play, don't just put your head and your arms and legs into it, but put your heart and your head into it. So you think about what you do, care about what you do. Put passion into it. And always try to have something that you're passionate about in life. Whether it's a hobby, whether it's work, be passionate about something, because I think that'll just keep you motivated, keep you happy, give you something to look forward to.
Yeah, no, it's great advice. So anything else you want to tell us about Diamond Pizza or yourself or your life philosophy? Because it's all good.
It's all good. Life philosophy. Always give more than you take. Be kind to people, okay? It's just, kindness is its own reward. Don't look for something out of kindness, and don't try to brag, or it's a fine line, right? Social media is all about me.
Yeah.
Right?
Doesn't have to be.
But make it about yourself without actually advertising it to everybody. Right? Do it for its own sake, and not because somebody else is going to, give you a thumbs up or a like.
Okay.
That's sort of my philosophy. So I guess I'm bad at self-promoting, but I try
It's working.
I try to be happy.
So, what do you have going on for the next year or so? Like what?
Next year we're trying to basically, we see it's an old place. We're trying to fix it up a bit and just give it a facelift.
Yeah.
Challenging in this environment, especially with the last couple of years, and looking forward, I'm a bit apprehensive and a bit nervous, just because from a business point of view, it's going to be a challenge because we had a niche market for many years in that we delivered teriyaki, we delivered burgers, we delivered subs, we delivered all these things.
Right.
You know, about 5 years ago, you had the advent of Uber and some of these online retailers. You had, so all of a sudden, instead of competing against some of the delivery restaurants like the traditional pizza and Chinese things like that, now we're competing against McDonald's, Tim Hortons, and all those people. Now with COVID, everybody who wasn't in the delivery industry is also in there as well. So I don't have a sit-down section, things like that. So it'll be a challenge for me to make sure that we get out there, let the people know who we are and what we are. Maybe put a patio in the summer.
I was about to say, you think
right?
a patio, you got the
But in the
space
summer,
here.
give
Looks
somebody
like.
to basically have to come here and enjoy it. I don't really want to do alcohol or things like that, just because it's not who we are. I want it to be a family-friendly environment. Sometimes that sort of changes it up a little bit.
Yeah. So I mean, you're in this location and you've made a commitment to this neighborhood.
Yep.
Would you ever expand somewhere else?
I'd like to stay in East York, in all
Yeah.
honesty. I've looked at other places, but it's sort of, this is where I feel at home.
Well, that's good.
Right?
That's
So,
great.
there's a couple locations close by that I've looked at and seriously considering. But again, that's still within East York and sort of keep it to
Keep it local.
who we are. It's who we service all these years. It's who we identify with.
Yeah. So why do you think it's important that people shop locally? I mean, I'm asking you, it's a kind of a leading question, but
Yeah, of course. That's self-serving as well. Number one, you shop locally. You know who you're dealing with. You have a front face to the product, and that's not just restaurants. That could be your shoe store, it could be your clothing store, it could be your doctor, it could be your florist, right? So all across the board. I know basically I like to talk to people, and when I have something that's like, hey Emery, how you doing? I need this, and you're like, oh Chip, what's up? Yeah, okay, you know what? I know what you're looking for, and it's done right away. And you have that, you build that relationship over time.
yeah.
It's not a faceless, click, and it doesn't matter who you are or what you are. You're just a number, or just a product, just a delivery address. So I like that. I'm not in this business because I don't like people. So you have to like people a little bit. And sometimes I find that the youth today are afraid to talk. I have two daughters, 21 and 18, and I've been trying to teach them. It's like, if you have an issue, call the person you have, whether it's for schooling, whether it's for registrars, whether it's, for a course, talk to the person. It's so much easier to resolve issues because so much is lost. There's so much nuance and so much context that is lost in black and white.
They'll grow through that. I'm gonna say, because mine, I had to text them for dinner. It's like dinner's ready, because otherwise they just didn't hear it. But
And shopping locally, your dollars stay close. You buy something at your local store, they will probably buy something at their supplier that's local, and it'll all sort of stay within the neighborhood.
sure,
Whereas if you're clicking and sending it to some account in the States or who knows where, some tax haven shelter, then that money's lost from the neighborhood and it doesn't easily get back here.